welcome to the Watchman. Well, the Muslim Brotherhood is on the ropes right now in Egypt. They've been banned. The Egyptian military is taking control. But remember, folks, the Muslim Brotherhood is present in some 70 countries around the world. And that includes, yes, the United States. We're joined right now by our good friend Frank Gaffney, president of the Center for Security Policy in Washington, D.C., former Reagan administration defense official, and a foremost expert on the Muslim Brotherhood in America. Frank, the Center for Security Policy just published a groundbreaking report on an individual named Mohammed El-Biari. Frank, tell us who he is and what position he plays in the Obama administration.
This was an annotated interview, really, of Ryan Morrow with this fellow, Mohammed El-Biari.
Also a friend of the show, Ryan Morrow, good young journalist.
Terrific young man. And El-Biari is an Islamist activist out of Plano, Texas, who has been pushing basically the Muslim Brotherhood line in Texas and promoting its ideologues and its front groups and its other activists pretty aggressively, actually. Despite that, though, he's managed to become not only appointed once, but reappointed just recently to the Homeland Security Advisory Council.
And promoted recently, I believe.
Yeah, he's got some title of senior fellow or something there. But what's particularly stunning about that is between when he was first appointed, raising some concerns on Capitol Hill, and when he was reappointed, he ran one of what I would regard as the most successful of influence operations inside the United States government in recent memory. What was it? He wound up getting an award personally from the director of the FBI, now recently departed, Robert Mueller, at the FBI Training Academy in Quantico, Virginia. And it sure looks like while he was there, he took out his cell phone and he took photographs of some of the training materials that the FBI was using to prepare our first line of defense against the Muslim Brotherhood and the other Islamists who are, trying to bring Sharia to America, a seditious, totalitarian, brutally repressive program, as you know. And here I am talking to the guy who wrote the book on the Muslim Brotherhood, so you're kind of think of me as an expert. But what that resulted in was a letter, a series of articles in Wired magazine first, and then a letter from a number of these groups, including Mohammed El-Biari's, demanding that the FBI purge its files of this kind of training material that would be offensive to Muslims. Not
Talk
content
about the fox
with that,
guarding the hen house.
Not content with that. A few days later, these groups, plus some others, both of the left and the right, the red-green axis as they call them, wrote John Brennan, who was then the Homeland Security Advisor to President Obama, saying—
And now the CIA director.
Now the CIA director. We want all of the government's files, the military, the intelligence community, the Department of Homeland Security, as well as the FBI, purged of this kind of information that we would consider offensive and, the rest of us would consider highly instructive about the true nature of the enemy and the threat that it represents. Hence, the desire of Mohammed El-Biari and his friends to suppress it. Well, John Brennan said, okay, we'll do that. So here we are now, in the wake of this El-Biari influence operation, now blinded in terms of these critical instruments of the United States government to protect us, particularly from enemies external as well as within, to the true nature of that enemy. And as Sun Tzu said 5,000 years ago, the Chinese strategist, you cannot defeat an enemy you do not know.
That's right. So Frank, let me get this straight, just so everyone at home is clear, and you just broke it down in stunning detail. Number one, Mohammed El-Biari, a Muslim Brotherhood connected radical, is a high-ranking advisor in the Department of Homeland Security. Correct. That's number one. And number two, as you just explained, El-Biari and his ilk, these Muslim Brotherhood linked operatives in America, are advising our government on counterterrorism training and actually banning some training manuals. This is stunning.
It gets worse. They not only had the files purged, but Mohammed El-Biari and a subgroup of this advisory council at Homeland Security called the Countering violent extremism working
Not
group.
radical Islam, violent extremism, of
Well,
course.
we can't use the term radical Islam. We can't use jihad. We can't even use terrorism anymore. As you know, Eric, it's now violent extremism. One of the advantages of which is you can consider Christians to be violent extremists, at least as threatening as these Islamists. But this violent extremism working group has actually propounded, and the Department of Homeland Security has made it government policy, that if you wish to use training materials, or for that matter, trainers, henceforth, with government money, you must first consult with, and that is effectively the same thing as getting the approval of, who? The kind of people like Mohammed Ali Biari, who are community partners and leaders. And the practical effect of this, I mean, it's hard to overstate its significance, Eric. It's as though during the Cold War, I'm an old Cold War guy,
Absolutely.
you know, we said, from now on, folks, if you want to know about the Soviet order of battle or the Soviet communist doctrine or ideology or agenda, you have to get permission from the KGB. I can tell you, I worked for Ronald Reagan. It wouldn't have worked out as it did if that had been the case. And this one won't work out either.
I mean, it's a stunning turn of events. You have Ali Biari, obviously, and these Brotherhood individuals. People ask me, Frank, I wrote the book, The Brotherhood, and people ask me about Brotherhood individuals and their positions in the White House. And I say oftentimes these aren't positions where they're in the forefront. They're in sensitive positions like Ali Biari, behind the scenes, shaping policy. And I think that's the most troubling thing. Tell us about another Brotherhood-linked individual, Frank. To my mind, one of the most dangerous Brotherhood-linked operatives in America, Mohammed Majid, who I know you've also done a lot of work on.
Beyond being an imam in one of the most radical Islamist mosques in America, the Adams Center, the All Dulles Area Muslim Society Center out in Dulles, Virginia.
Just outside Washington, D.C., where we're sitting right now.
He is the president of the largest Muslim Brotherhood front organization in the United States, the Islamic Society of North America, and there's lots of evidence. The President of the United States personally takes counsel from Mohammed Majid, and that means the enemy is inside the wire.
And we've reported here, Mohammed Majid, Frank, has met personally with President Obama, advising him on everything from immigration policy to Middle East policy.
Indeed.
And again, his group, the Islamic Society of North America, ISNA for short, was an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest terrorism financing trial in American history.
Yeah.
This is the Brotherhood, and they are inside the wire,
Right.
as you
Interestingly, as you know, we've serendipitously, I think providentially, found a strategic plan of the Muslim Brotherhood in a suburban community of Washington called Annandale, Virginia, back in 2004. And an attachment to that strategic plan had the list of our organizations and organizations of our friends. The very first group on this Muslim Brotherhood strategic plan was the Islamic Society of North America.
29 groups.
Now headed by President Obama's good friend and close advisor, Mohammed Majid.
Frank, we're going to leave it right there for now. My head is about to explode about this. I'm sure everyone at home is too. Tell us real quick, we're going to bring it back at the end of the show for solutions, what we can do about this problem, but tell us real quick where we can find your work, the Team B report, also Muslim Brotherhood in America, real quick.
MuslimBrotherhoodInAmerica.com is where you can find the free online video course, and a book that we've produced is at ShariaTheThreat.com. Free download available of that book. It's, I think, required reading.
Absolutely it is, and you see it on the screen right now, folks. Pick it up. Coming up next, mapping the Iran threat. Stick around.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy to totally free. Next time, I'll explain the simple truth about money.
Help!
If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
And welcome back to another edition of the Watchman War Room with Mark Langfan, our good friend, marklangfan.com, chairman of Americans for a Safe Israel. Mark, you were here last week, and you laid out in stunning detail, to me, frightening detail, just how serious the threats are at Israel's borders and what a Palestinian state would mean for the state of Israel. Hint, hint, not good. That was last week's show. This week, look, we have some Iranian maps. Now, people at home, you think you know the Iranian threat. Yes, Iran wants a nuclear weapon, but did you know that Iran's ultimate target is not Israel? Israel is a bump on the road to the big prize, us. That's why Iran is developing intercontinental ballistic missiles right now that can reach the east coast of the United States, where Mark and I are standing right now. So, Mark, welcome back, first of all.
Thank you.
Great
for
to have
having
you
me
again,
back,
my
Eric.
friend. Walk us through this unique topographic map showing Iran, the terrain of Iran, and its neighbors, and what it all means.
Well, once you understand the topography of really any area, you can really gain a much deeper understanding of why that area, the history of that area. Just to give you, for instance, if you see these mountains over here, this is the Alps and the Dolomites. They are really the protection of Rome and the Italian peninsula. And that's why you had an Italian empire, because you had these mountains protecting it. But now let's go to the east, and all of a sudden, if you look at Iran, you'll understand that the lines on the map are not exactly casually drawn lines. They're in fact a mountain range, which acts as really a crown to Iran, in that Iran is rung by these huge mountains. And all you have to do is look at these mountains compared to the Alps, and you actually realize these mountains are higher than the Alps.
Wow.
So you've got mountains that are ringing Iran, and all of Iran's nuclear facilities are on the inside the crown
So
of
they're
these
inside
mountains.
that
They're
mountainous
inside
terrain.
that
Very
mountain.
tough to hit.
Very tough to hit.
Smart thinking by the Iranians, unfortunately. But
Unfortunately.
Shrewd.
So now, why is this topography vital? Well, once you understand the topography, you begin to understand where the oil is in the Persian Gulf. We're now going to segue from this map to the resource map of the Middle East. And in specific, we're going to be focusing on this area here. Once you see where the oil and gas is in the various countries, you realize that all of Iran's oil and gas is in the western reaches, the southwest.
The black obviously symbolizes oil.
The black is
and the
oil,
red is natural gas.
And the red is natural gas.
Okay.
And when you look at Saudi Arabia, almost all of the oil and gas falls in the eastern part of Saudi Arabia. Similarly with Iraq, almost all the oil and gas falls in the eastern part of Iraq. So what I've done...
This is all Iran's turf, basically.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Because what I've done is I've taken this map and I've blown up this specific portion that I just showed you into this area here.
The black gold triangle. Mark, I don't mean to cut you off, my friend. We got to pay the dues and go to a commercial. This is a great way to leave it. the black gold triangle. What does it mean for the Middle East and America? You sitting there at home, your oil and gas prices, folks. Find out after the break with Mark Langfan. Don't move.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
And welcome back to the Watchman War Room. We're joined by Mark Langfan with his amazing maps. And by the way, folks, you can find these maps at marklangfan.com. You see the URL on your screen right now. Check it out, marklangfan.com. Americans for a Safe Israel. So, Mark, when we went to the break, you were filling us in on this black gold triangle. What does that mean, and what does it mean for us over here?
Well, what it means is as follows. When you look at Iran, almost all of Iran's oil is in here. When you look at Iraq, almost all of Iraq's oil is in here. And when you look at Saudi Arabia, almost all of Saudi Arabia's oil is in this small area.
Wow.
So now really, if you look at it, there's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Well, when President Obama virtually unilaterally retreated from Iraq, he gave almost all of Iraq's oil to Iran, because Iran is essentially the boss of Iraq right now.
Exactly. Okay? Iran benefited more than anyone from that invasion of Iraq.
Iraq is really now a province of Iran.
It's an Iranian satellite.
It's an Iranian satellite. Right. Okay. So now the only piece left of this puzzle is Saudi Arabia. And why this is important is everything that is going on in the Middle East, whether it's in Syria, whether it's in Egypt. Ultimately, where all of this is the core of the problem and the core of the fight is between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
Right.
And the real threat to a nuclear bomb, yes, Israel is a threat, but the goal of an Iranian nuclear bomb is to gain this last third of the triangle.
Yeah, and Mark, real quick, I mean, this is stunning. 56%, ladies and gentlemen, of the world's known oil and gas reserves are inside this black triangle. 56%. What does that mean for us at home? I don't know, Mark. I don't think that could be good if Iran controlled 56% of the world's oil and gas reserves.
As you said before, it would turn OPEC into IranPEC.
Exactly. They would set the price
would be a
of
monopoly.
Oil, and a nuclear gun to the heads of every oil-producing nation.
And they not only would have this 56% of the world's oil supply, but they'd have a nuclear umbrella on top of it.
Yes.
But now this is where
it would be a complete powerhouse. 56% of the world's oil, nuclear armed. This, folks, is what a nuclear Iran
That is exactly
really means.
Exactly.
This is not an Israeli problem.
This
it is a world
problem.
Wake up.
Okay, so now the next frame is this map shows the black gold triangle, but in addition it shows that most of the Shias are a minority in Saudi Arabia, but they are all, there's about 22 million Saudi Arabians, about 2 million Shias, but that 2 million Shias are all sitting right in the eastern provinces.
Just so people at home understand, Mark, Iran is a majority Shia Muslim country. Eastern Iraq, where all that oil is, majority Shia. Eastern Saudi Arabia, where, wow, the really big oil reserves are, majority Shia. Iran's goal is to become the Shia powerhouse, and unfortunately, the Shia Caliphate. And unfortunately for us, 56% of the world's oil and gas, again, lies inside Iran's potential Shia Caliphate.
But the key is, how does Iran use a nuclear weapon to get Saudi Arabia?
Which takes us to our final map. And possibly our most disturbing, if you're not disturbed enough at home yet. But this is educational. You need to know. Would you rather know or not know? I think you need to know what Mark's sharing.
So now there's two quote-unquote arguments allowing a small number of nukes to Iran. Number one, they have a fatwa, so they're not going to use it. Number two, oh, what is 1 or 2 nukes against 1,000 American nukes going to do? This is what it's going to do. They can use 1 nuke as an EMP weapon against Saudi Arabia and then attack, which will burn up all of America's and Saudi Arabia's defense electronics.
EMP, Mark, just
is
to remind everyone.
Electromagnetic pulse.
We've talked about it many times here on the show, electromagnetic pulse, EMP for short.
Yes. So what happens is you don't ignite the nuclear weapon a kilometer above the ground. You ignite it 50 kilometers above the ground.
In the atmosphere.
In the atmosphere. And so actually...
You're in the Stone Age. You're in the 1800s.
You're in the Stone Age. But the key
fries everything.
Fries everything. But it takes you back to 900 AD.
Yes.
Where you'll kill less people. It's a weapon where you're not going to... So it's actually a fatwa. It's a Sharia-compliant nuclear weapon.
Yeah. So you could... We got to run, Mark, but real quick, you could use an Iran, which Iran has tested this EMP technology in the Caspian Sea. Iran could use an EMP against Saudi Arabia, cripple Saudi Arabia's electrical grid, everything. Iran marches right in and takes those oil fields in eastern Saudi Arabia. And here we have our Iranian Caliphate controlling some 56% of the world's oil and natural gas supplies. Mark, thank you so much for breaking it down, my friend. It was great to have you.
Thank you
2 weeks in a row,
me.
we'll have you back.
Great.
Again, marklangfan.com. You can find all these amazing maps. Show them to your friends. Share them with your family. This is important. You need to know what a nuclear Iran really means. This is not an Israeli problem. It is your problem and my problem, the world's problem. Wrapping up after the break. Stay tuned.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you going to do? You're going to drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
that parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
And welcome back. We're wrapping up here with our good friend Frank Gaffney, president of the Center for Security Policy. Frank, a little earlier in the show, we were talking about this seditious movement of the Muslim Brotherhood inside the U.S. government. I think a lot of people at home right now are shocked, they're dismayed, they're outraged, but all is not lost yet. Thank God that you are a watchman on the wall working on this. So give us, in the 2 minutes or so we have left, Frank, some solutions to combat this threat. Just as Americans watching at home as well, what can we do?
We talked earlier about our course, MuslimBrotherhoodInAmerica.com.
Yes.
Part 10 of that course is all about what you can do. What you can do as individuals, what you can do as members of a community or group, and what you can do if we come together as citizens to save our country from an enemy that says in its own mission statement its purpose is destroying us from within. One of the things that I've been particularly encouraging of people to do is to get behind an effort that now has been translated into law in some 7 or 8 states in various parts of the country. It's called American Laws for American Courts, a radical concept, but yet one that's all the more necessary because these Muslim brothers and other advocates of adherence to Sharia are trying to introduce Sharia into our courts, where, as you know, in places like Britain, that's already been accomplished.
And you have documented this at the Center for Security Policy.
It's a teachable moment for state legislators and the larger community, and it really can help build a firewall against the kind of civilization jihad that, as you know from your writings, is exactly what these guys are doing, a stealthy, subversive effort to take us down from within if they can, and we mustn't let them.
That's right, and the government and the mainstream media have essentially checked out on this, Frank. It's going to be won at the grassroots, this battle, and you are leading the fight. Center for Security Policy.org, the Team B report, Muslim Brotherhood in America. You have the URLs here. Use them, folks. Frank, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Great seeing you again, my friend. Until next week, from The Watchman, God bless, and remember, never hold your peace.